Chapter 1. On my 26th birthday, my fishing king boyfriend of 4 years forgot to say happy birthday again. I was lying on the hotel bed during a business trip, video calling him while he played a racing simulator. During a break in the game, he glanced at me and suddenly said, "You're not that young anymore." You know, I froze. What? He sneered. "You've got a gray hair, and when you laugh, your wrinkles make you look like a Shar Pei. You're timid and boring, nothing like my young fans who are wild and genuine." Then I realized he was still mad I didn't let him add his fans on WeChat. I stared at that handsome face on the screen, and suddenly, it all felt meaningless. I didn't tell Sam I rescheduled my flight and came home early. Just stepping out of the elevator, I saw a girl walking out of our apartment door, holding a bag of trash. She wore a white lace baby tee and ultra-short denim shorts. Pale, long legs, a slim waist, a young face full of collagen, radiating youthful energy. The door opened again. Sam peeked out, half his body showing. He threw on a light gray t-shirt, his hair still dripping wet. "Remember to take the pill." 24 hours. The girl put down the trash and turned to hug him around the waist. "I know, bro, I'll be good." Sam let her hug him, but didn't hug her back. "All right, go now." The girl finally let go. "I'll message you when I get to campus." After she left, I keyed in the code and unlocked the door. Sam looked surprised, froze for a moment, and then quickly went to the bathroom to grab a towel and dry his hair. "Didn't you say you'd be back by 8 p.m.? I took a deep breath. The unfamiliar scent of perfume still lingered. "Yeah, but it was going to rain heavily tonight, so I changed flights." By the time he walked out of the bathroom, his expression was completely calm. "Have you eaten? I can take you out for dinner." I didn't answer. I was staring blankly at the half bottle of red wine and 2 wine glasses on the table. He suddenly leaned in, and I was surrounded by the familiar scent of his body wash. "What's wrong? Tired? Go take a shower. I'll help you relax." He hugged me from behind, his hands already unfastening my buttons with practiced ease. His warm breath on my neck. I used to love his hugs, his closeness, but now, I felt drained. I gently brushed his hands away and stepped out of his embrace. His face tightened. I had never rejected him before. I sighed softly, then noticed the full-length mirror by the door. 4 handprints, 2 large ones above, probably Sam's. 2 smaller ones below, likely the girl's. Sam seemed to remember something. His expression kept changing. He cleared his throat twice. The atmosphere grew more awkward. He poured himself half a glass of red wine and sat at the dining table, crossing his legs. "She's a fan, still in college, played with the racing team a bit too late. Couldn't get back to her dorm, so I let her crash here. We didn't do anything, just watched a boring movie all night." Listening to that ridiculous explanation, I sighed deeply. No wonder he said I wasn't young anymore during our video call days ago. Turns out, he already had another young, pretty admirer by his side. I always knew Sam loved to play around. Over the years, there had been many flirty girls around him. He said he'd never dated anyone for more than 6 months before me. Turns out, our entire relationship was held together by me lowering my boundaries again and again. I heard my own voice, sounding pitiful and weak. "Sam, you said you'd never bring someone home." He let out a soft laugh, with no guilt or shame. "Did I? I don't remember." He swirled the wine in his glass, smirking. "Nicole, look at yourself. You're like a nagging old housekeeper. If you want to control everything I do, maybe we should just break up." Sam knew that threatening me with a breakup was his best tactic. Whenever he said those words, I'd always lower my pride and beg him to stay. Seeing me silent, he reached for my suitcase. "Come on, unpack your stuff first." I held onto the suitcase, refusing to let go. Sam instantly lost patience. "If you're not coming in, then get the hell out." Chapter 2. Dragging my suitcase to the front gate of the complex, I felt a wave of bitterness surge inside me. Sam knew I had nowhere else to go, yet he didn't say a single word to make me stay. When the elevator doors closed, he was still at the doorway, yelling furiously, "If you leave, then don't come back." Damn it! I knew he was livid. After all, no matter who was at fault when we argued, I was always the one to lower my voice and coax him back. This was the first time he'd been given the cold shoulder. I remember the first time I saw Sam, he already carried himself with that air of superiority. At the time, my best friend worked for a car media company. She dragged me to a local race, saying one of the drivers was insanely handsome and topped Haicheng's must-have crush list. That day, he had great luck. He took the championship and leapt onto the podium. When he took off his helmet, the crowd screamed. I stared at that ridiculously good-looking face, stunned that someone could actually look like that. Grabbing my friend's arm, I asked her his name. She yelled excitedly into my ear, "That's Sam. Feeling something? Then you're doomed." After the race, his female fans swarmed him. He didn't turn anyone away. Every girl who got his WeChat left clutching her phone, squealing. When I clenched my fists and squealed in my friend's ear, she looked at me with pity. Wake up. The girls chasing him could fill an entire racetrack. But I refused to give up. I brought him breakfast in the morning, stayed with him during training at night, delivered condoms at midnight, whatever he needed. I was there. After 4 girlfriends, he finally said, "Wanna give it a try?" And that try lasted 4 years. I checked into a hotel for the time being. After showering, I lay in bed, sorting through work messages. The manager from the branch office I just visited on my business trip had left me a message, inviting me to transfer there. I closed my eyes, but Sam's voice popped into my head. "You're not young anymore, already getting gray hairs." I let out a long sigh and replied to the manager, I accepted. Sam wasn't wrong. I wasn't young anymore. I should start taking relationships more seriously. Honestly, I really liked Sam. I liked his devastatingly handsome face, the way his arms bulged when he got emotional, the low groan he let out when he clutched me with his eyes closed. Unfortunately, he didn't like me back. I knew I'd probably never find another man who fit me that well in bed again. But what could I do? He was great for fun, not for marriage. I drifted off to sleep and didn't see the message from Sam until the next morning. Headache. Going to sleep. Didn't lock the door. If you come back, keep it down. Don't wake me. Out of instinct, I wanted to ask if his headache was better. But when I hit send, that familiar red exclamation mark appeared. Sure enough, he had blocked me again. Chapter 3. I knew the headache was his way of giving me an out. Make a few more calls. Send a few more texts. Show up at the racetrack to pick him up. Act a little apologetic. I'd always managed to coax him back in the past. But this time, I really didn't have the time. The branch office was pushing hard. I was scheduled to leave in just a couple of days. I went home to pack up the rest of my clothes. At the keypad on the door, I entered 277276. Several beeps later, a cold, mechanical voice said, "Incorrect password. Please try again." The password was set by Sam on the 9-key input method. Nicole loves Sam translated to 277276. I tried several times, but the result was the same. He had changed the code. He was mad that I didn't come home last night, and he was telling me with his actions, "Since you left, don't bother coming back." I opened WeChat, and several new messages popped up. Sam's teammates had tagged me in the group chat, joking around, at sister-in-law. "Please help Sam recover. He's been so weak lately." Yeah, the competition's coming up. Sam's great, but he needs to take it easy. We ran 10 kilometers today and he was panting like a dog. Sam's condition is way off these days. Sister-in-law, next time you come to watch him train, bring more good food. That ginseng chicken soup last time was amazing. The mantis shrimp too. Sam jumped in immediately. Why is Nicole in this group? Who added her? Are you guys insane? Just dragging anyone in here? Who's the group admin? Kick out any irrelevant people. Stop calling her sister-in-law. What is she to me anyway? A couple of snacks and drinks and you're all bought off? I stared at the screen in disbelief. I never expected he'd talk about me like that in front of his teammates. The group admin was Paul, the team leader. I'd been added by Paul's wife. I usually didn't talk much in the group. Sometimes I'd just ask about the time and place of team dinners, so I could go pick Sam up. Paul didn't let it slide. He shot back. "Sam, did you eat gunpowder today?" The group chat went dead silent. No one said anything after that. Quietly, I exited and deleted the group. Immediately, Paul called me. "Nicole, why'd you leave the group?" Sigh. Sam's just in a bad mood today. Don't take it to heart, all right? I hesitated and asked, what's going on with him? Trouble during training? Paul sighed. Sigh. There was an unfair ruling during a race a few days ago. We planned to appeal it, but a young fangirl got so anxious she cried on the spot. Sam got worked up and flipped off the judging table. Well, the penalty decision just came in today. Paul tried to console me. Nicole, you know how hot-tempered Sam is. Don't take it personally. I casually agreed, but I never rejoined the group. That girl I saw at the door that night, she must have been the one crying for him. No wonder he told me during our video call that I was meek and boring in real life. If I'd been there that day, I probably would have told him to calm down and wait for the appeal. But Sam hated bowing his head, hated holding back. He came from a wealthy family, he could afford to be reckless. He only needed to do what he liked, never having to worry about the consequences. Truthfully, we were never the same kind of people. Chapter 4. I returned to the hotel empty-handed. Just as I sat down on the sofa, an unfamiliar number called. Nicole, yeah, a sweet, girlish voice came through the phone. Brother Sam's had a headache all day. What medicine usually works for him? I paused for a second. And you are? Just call me Elena. I heard from Sam's teammates that you usually take care of him. So I asked for your number. Nicole, yeah. What does Sam like? What does he hate? Can you tell me more? I want to know everything. She sounded genuinely happy just talking about Sam. Why don't you just ask him directly? I'm afraid he'll think I'm annoying. Elena giggled shyly. And you think I won't find you annoying? She probably didn't expect that response. She froze and didn't say anything for a while. Elena, who are you calling? A low male voice came from the background. I was asking Nicole what medicine you usually take for headaches. Why ask her? Are we even that close? Sam's cold voice snapped back. Before he finished his sentence, Elena hung up the phone. A flight check-in reminder popped up on my screen. I let out a self-mocking laugh. So in Sam's eyes, we weren't even close. Fine. A clean break is also a mercy. I was just about to go to bed when Paul suddenly called. Nicole, can you come talk to Sam? If he keeps drinking like this, he'll get fined again tomorrow. There was noise in the background, men and women laughing loudly, sounding wild and obnoxious. I didn't respond. Paul grew anxious. I've got no one else to turn to. Sam doesn't listen to anyone, except you. The team's gotten strict lately. He just got a fine today. If something else happens, he might not even make it on the roster this season. I took a deep breath and agreed. I thought maybe, since I was leaving soon, we should at least talk one last time. When I arrived at the private room, Sam was playing games with a group of young girls. Elena was glued to his side. Sam looked up, a flicker of confusion in his dark eyes. The girls cheered him on to roll the dice for couples strip board game. His slender fingers released the dice, and the room erupted in shrieks. Whoa! Spicy challenge unlocked. Rub massage oil with both hands on a clothed part of your partner's upper body. Someone nudged Elena. Her face flushed. I give up. I'll drink instead. She quickly lowered her head to grab the glass. Sam snatched her drink away. What are you scared of? It's just a game. He unbuttoned the top 3 buttons of his shirt, revealing his white, sculpted chest. The whole room lit up. The screams didn't stop. Sam took Elena's hand and placed it on his chest. His gaze, though, was locked onto mine with provocation. I knew he was doing it on purpose. He was punishing me for walking out, for not crawling back to apologize. I stood there motionless until everyone turned to look, until they all noticed the awkward tension between me and Sam. Why are you here? He let go of Elena and calmly buttoned up his shirt again. I heard my voice trembling. Sam, have you had enough? He sneered. Not even close. I had always known Sam was this kind of man, but the moment he took pride in stabbing me like this, my heart actually hurt. What? Not happy about it? Then break up. I stared at him, my eyes brimming with tears. Paul stepped in quickly. All right. Sam's had too much to drink. Nicole, take him home. Sam raised his chin and looked at me coldly. Fine. Then let's break up. His expression changed slightly, but he clenched his teeth and said coldly, Fine. Nicole, just don't come crawling back like a dog again. Okay. I didn't give him another glance, turned, and walked out. The next morning, I dragged my suitcase and boarded a flight to another city. Chapter 5. After leaving Haicheng, I didn't contact Sam again. Coldness, perhaps, could be considered one of my ex's virtues. At least he wasn't the type to cling or drag things out for years. I posted a late-night emotional moment on my social media feed. After all, it was necessary to update new coworkers and old classmates that I was single again. When my mom heard that I had changed cities without saying anything, she couldn't help but call me, "Nicole, were you unhappy living in Haicheng?" "No, it was just a job transfer." Sigh, she let out a long sigh. "You've grown up. You don't even tell your parents when you're sad anymore." I forced a light tone. "I'm 26 now. I can take care of myself. Mom just worries you're working too hard all alone. If you can't meet someone suitable, maybe consider blind dates?" I smiled and agreed casually. Once my job stabilized, I signed up for a dating site and even paid for the most expensive membership. Even so, I was exposed to the vastness of the world. A 35-year-old department head spoke about municipal leadership like it was his own family tree. After predicting who might get transferred to the provincial level, he bluntly told me, "People outside the system are always just laborers. They have no social status." A 40-year-old single dad wrinkled his brow as soon as he heard my age. "I still prefer girls in their early 20s, less worldly." Finally, I met a programmer my age. During one meal, he took 5 calls, pulled out his laptop to fix a bug, and then pushed up his glasses and asked, "Where were we in our conversation?" Later, I did meet a few guys with decent conditions, but without exception, none of them sparked any real chemistry. I told my best friend, "I don't think I know how to fall for someone again." She sent me a shrug emoji, followed by, "Honestly, who can really compete with Sam?" I let out a bitter laugh. She had a point. The more I thought about it, the more hopeless it all seemed. It must have been about to storm. The air pressure was really low. I walked out of a cafe holding my coffee, heading to meet some colleagues. I was a little distracted when I pushed open the door and walked right into someone. "Don't you watch where you're going?" we both said at the same time, seeing that half my iced latte had spilled all over his white shirt. My frustration instantly turned into guilt. "I'm really sorry." I frantically grabbed a thick stack of napkins and was about to help wipe it off. But after seeing the warning in his eyes, I handed the napkins to him instead. I pulled out my phone and opened a QR code. "Let me pay for your dry cleaning." Thanks to my polite attitude, the man frowned for a moment before squeezing out a few words. "Forget it. Just my bad luck." My hand, holding the phone, was still frozen in midair when he turned and walked off. In this kind of weather, wearing wet clothes must have felt awful. But his frosty attitude made my guilt disappear, at least halfway. Chapter 6. At a creative business park. The team was already waiting on the first floor of an office building. Even the deputy general manager of the branch office had shown up. I nudged a colleague beside me and asked, "Wasn't this partnership basically finalized already? Why did our boss Alex suddenly show up today?" She leaned over and whispered, "The partner company parachuted in a new boss. Word is, the whole deal might need to be renegotiated. I heard the new boss just came back from overseas, ready to make big changes. Alex is here to steady the situation, afraid the deal might fall apart." I cautiously followed behind my colleagues and sat down in the meeting room of the partner company. Soon, the crisp sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. Getting closer and closer, a tall young man walked into the room. "Apologies for keeping everyone waiting," he said. "Had a small situation to deal with at the last minute." The voice sounded familiar. I looked up and froze. It was the man I bumped into at the cafe. Alex immediately stood up to shake his hand. "You're too kind. What happened? Do you want to take care of that first? We're not in a rush." Everyone's gaze landed on the massive coffee stain on his white shirt. I wanted to crawl into a hole. "It's fine, just a run of bad luck," he said lightly. "Ran into someone who doesn't watch where they're going." I had just picked up the rest of my latte and nearly choked when I heard that. Alex shot me a disapproving glance. I quickly turned my face away, struggling not to cough. My cheeks flushed red. Thankfully, no one pursued the topic further, and the conversation quickly shifted back to business. Oliver, apparently his name, had just returned from overseas, though he didn't yet fully grasp the local situation. His negotiation style was aggressive and overthrew all previous agreements. There was an air of authority around him, and no one dared challenge him easily. Alex's expression grew darker until he suddenly turned to me. Nicole, how were you planning the cooperation model again? Caught off guard, I had no choice but to step up. I grabbed a whiteboard and laid out all the key points of our proposed collaboration, breaking down the pros and cons for both parties. I subtly made it clear that we had other options, remaining firm but respectful. Oliver stared at the board, tapping his fingers on the table. Eventually, he proposed a barely acceptable condition, a 70/30ths profit split. Alex let out a sigh of relief and nodded subtly at me. I felt a layer of cold sweat on my back. After the meeting, Oliver suddenly called out to me. He pointed to his shirt and said, "Dry cleaning fee. What a strange guy, he refused it before, and now he's asking for it?" I forced a polite smile and held out my WeChat QR code. "Please add me. I'll transfer the cost once your shirt's clean." He scanned the code and gave a brief before walking away. My colleagues were visibly relieved for me. "You're the one who spilled coffee on him? Nicole, seriously, shoo, lower your voice." His body looked amazing. During the meeting I got totally distracted. "You really nailed the hit. We saw everything, pecs and abs. I heard he's not even 30 yet. How can someone be that perfect? And his face, gorgeous. Is this something we should even be gossiping about?" I shoved the chatty bunch out the door. "Zip it! Did you consider my mental state?" My heart hadn't even calmed down when my phone started ringing. On the screen, it clearly showed, Sam. Chapter 7. When are you coming to pick up your junk? Sam's voice on the phone was filled with impatience. "Sam, can you help me pack it into boxes? I'll arrange for a courier to pick them up later." He replied casually. "No, I can't." "Then just throw them away." "Throw them away? The bag I gave you? The necklace I bought? You're just going to toss them? What do you take me for? You can just say I don't want it and be done with it?" He sounded absolutely furious on the other end. "Nicole, you're such a bitch." He hung up in anger, but the word bitch echoed in my head. He was the one who changed the lock and locked me out. He was also the one who refused to help me pack. How did I become the villain in the end? I let out a bitter laugh. A few days later, a test drive event for a new car model was held at a resort on the outskirts of the city. My best friend used the business trip as an excuse to come see me. At the hotel bar, I chatted with her about some of the hilarious stories from my blind dates, and she laughed so hard she almost fell off her chair. "Honestly, after chasing Sam for so long, you really have the guts to break up with him?" I swirled the ice in my glass. What else could I do? Guys like him are good for dating, not marriage. We'd end up divorced sooner or later. She cracked up. "I really underestimated you. I used to think you were pathetic, running after him like a simp. Now that I think about it, most people don't even get the chance to sleep with someone like that once in a lifetime." I took a sip of my drink and sighed. Sam was great, no regrets. I got to sleep with him for a few years. I didn't lose out. But sometimes it's better to rip off the band-aid. It hurts for a few days, then it's over. A cold voice suddenly rang out above my head. "You really are something. Nicole, you slept with me for years and now you're saying you can forget me in a few days?" Before I could turn around, that all too familiar sense surrounded me. My back went cold. Goosebumps rose all over my skin. Sam wrapped his arms around me from behind, placing both hands on the bar counter. His burning chest was pressed up against my back. My friend, sensing the tension, immediately disappeared. I asked nervously, "What are you doing here?" He sneered. "I should be asking you that." As he spoke, he leaned closer, warm breath brushing against my ear. "Sam, don't mess around." I turned my head away, only for him to pull me tightly into his arms again. "Sam, we broke up." His grip faltered slightly, and his expression darkened. He let me go and sat down beside me. "You don't really think I came here to get back together with you, do you?" He pointed to the lanyard around his neck. "I'm here as an invited guest, sponsored by the brand." I turned my head away again, trying to calm my racing heart. Sam ordered a drink and crunched on an ice cube. "I really was an idiot, letting you play me for years like that. Didn't think you had it in you, Nicole." I lowered my gaze, unable to look at him. It wasn't all for nothing. I did give you my all these years. And besides, I never betrayed you. You were the one who was never fully committed. I expected him to argue back, but he let out a sharp laugh. Nicole, you should have known what kind of person I am from the start. If you couldn't handle me, then you shouldn't have gotten involved. Got it? He downed his drink and walked away, as if the only one who had done something wrong in the whole relationship was me. Chapter 8. My phone vibrated gently, pulling me out of my thoughts. Dry cleaning fee, 280 yuan. Oliver's cold and handsome face immediately flashed through my mind. Just as I was about to transfer the money, I accidentally tapped on his profile picture and started browsing through his Moments feed. Only 3 or 4 posts per year, either skiing or hiking. There was no trace of a girlfriend. I exited the feed, the wine hitting a little harder than expected. I'm really sorry about the other day. Let me treat you to dinner as an apology. I also have some questions about the partnership I'd like to ask you. He took quite a while to reply with just one word, okay. I scoured his social media, even digging through the comments, and quickly memorized all his preferences. No one said being a high-level executive was easy. Oliver was the epitome of discipline. I could only accidentally bump into him at the tennis court or the swimming pool. But when it came to dinner, I deliberately avoided the usual healthy salad places he frequented and invited him to a Sichuan restaurant instead. He maintained his elegance and didn't complain, but it was obvious he wasn't eating much. You should try this river fish. It's really fresh. He frowned slightly but politely took a bite of the spicy poached fish. A few minutes later, he actually went in for a second bite. No one's born self-disciplined. Indulgence, after all, has its pleasures. We started off discussing business matters seriously, but I gradually shifted the topic to his love for outdoor sports. When men talk about what they love, they can go on forever. You like hiking too? We should go together next time. I smiled. That would be great. I've been meaning to hike the MacLehose Trail. The scenery is amazing. By the end of dinner, we found we had a lot in common. Naturally, I agreed when Oliver offered to drive me home. On the way, I couldn't help but sneak a glance at his striking side profile. When he was silent, he exuded a cold, intimidating presence, but when he smiled faintly, it was impossible to look away. When the car stopped downstairs, Oliver suddenly said, "I'm not sure if this is inappropriate, but go ahead." I replied, "Nicole, do you have a boyfriend?" My heart skipped a beat. Just as I was about to answer, someone knocked aggressively on the car window. I turned to see Sam's angry face outside the window. Startled, I quickly got out. "Sam, what are you doing here?" He scoffed. Surprised? Embarrassed to be caught? If I hadn't interrupted, were you about to kiss? Oliver stepped out too, politely asking, "And you are?" "Nicole's boyfriend," Sam said arrogantly, chin raised. "Ex," I corrected. "Oh, ex-boyfriend then," Oliver replied nonchalantly. Sam's face darkened, his eyes filled with hostility. "Wow, didn't take you long to hook up with a new guy. Huh, no wonder you don't want to come back to Haicheng." Then he turned to Oliver with a fake smile. "This woman is something else. She looks all sweet and harmless, but she's got a million schemes. You think she likes you? You're just her next target. If she can't sleep with you, she'll do anything to win you over. But once she does, she turns into someone completely different." I stared at Sam, too stunned to speak, but Oliver laughed. "Seems like you haven't gotten over her." Sam was instantly enraged. "Me? Not over her? Don't flatter yourself." I sighed. "If you're truly over me, then maybe don't show up at your ex's place shouting insults. Let's end this on a good note, shall we?" Sam opened his mouth but said nothing. Oliver patted my shoulder and walked me upstairs. Chapter 9. Back home, I buried my head under the blanket, furiously punching myself in frustration. I just wanted to know, if Sam hadn't shown up today, what would Oliver have said after asking that question? But now, everything was ruined. I didn't even have the courage to explain what had happened. Sam's words, Oliver definitely heard them. He surely knew I had been deliberately getting close to him. After hesitating for a long while, I finally messaged him, "Sorry for making a fool of myself today." It took him a long time to reply. Don't overthink it. Get some rest. He's not right for you. I spent the whole night trying to figure out what Oliver meant by he's not right for you, but couldn't make sense of it. The next morning, I showed up at work with 2 dark circles under my eyes. I muddled through the whole day. My phone was silent. That surprised me. Knowing Sam's temper, I thought he'd at least remove me from his block list today, just to hurl a few insults. Right before the end of the workday, the office group chat suddenly blew up. Big news! Someone in our building is getting a grand public confession. I clicked on the photo a colleague sent and instantly saw Sam. He was leaning lazily against a convertible sports car, wearing sunglasses like a model. The back seat of the car was filled with white roses. This guy is so hot. Looks like a male model. Heard he's a famous race car driver. Why is he picking up girls at our building? My God. Who gets to date a guy like that? The group chat got louder and messier. While I was getting increasingly anxious, I had no idea what Sam was trying to pull. After work, I tried to slip out quietly from the corner of the lobby. Not long after, I saw a curvy girl walk up and start chatting with Sam, hands in pockets. Sam gave her a casual smile. Sorry, I'm waiting for my girlfriend. The girl wasn't fazed. That's okay. You can wait, I just want to add you on WeChat. When Sam didn't respond, she started eyeing his car. This car's gorgeous. Is it imported? You've got a good eye. It's my dream car. I wanted to buy one last year, but the import wait time was too long. I ended up getting a Lotus instead. Sam gave her a once-over. Nice taste. So, let's add each other. She leaned in and whispered something to him. Sam chuckled shyly and finally pulled out his phone for her to scan. Where do you live? She asked casually, just as he was about to reply. He saw me. He froze. The smile on his face vanished instantly. You're off work? I've been waiting for you. The girl left, clearly annoyed. Sam, flustered by my sudden appearance, looked like he didn't know what to do with his hands. I calmly asked, Sam, what are you doing here? Don't tell me this is a brand promotion event. You showing up under my building with a fancy car? He stared at me for a long moment before finally working up the courage to speak. Yes, I can't let you go. I just can't. Is that what you wanted to hear? Chapter 10. If I hadn't just seen him add another girl on WeChat, I probably would have been moved by those words. But right now, I was incredibly clear-headed. If I had shown up 2 minutes later, would you have already slipped your hotel key card into her pocket? I didn't. She kept asking for my contact info, and girls are shy. Besides, all these years, you've been the only girlfriend I've had. Don't you get it? I let out a self-deprecating laugh. Sam, do you even like me? He stared at me blankly, then said in a tone of surrender, I do like you. So what? Do you like that I'm tolerant and forgiving? That I let you cheat on me again and again without leaving? Or do you like me? He didn't expect me to ask that. He couldn't answer for a long time. But I don't like you anymore. I said, I want a normal relationship, like normal people have. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not throwing a tantrum. We're really over. I didn't expect myself to cry, but tears rolled silently down my cheeks. Even Sam's eyes were red. I'd never seen him look so sad before. I don't know when Sam left Sioux City. I never saw him again. Weeks later, I had a meeting at Oliver's company. Afterward, he asked me to wait so we could leave together. I waited silently, expecting him to say something, anything, but he didn't. He just took me to a bar. On the TV in the bar, they were broadcasting highlights from a recently concluded racing event. I glanced up and saw Sam holding another championship trophy. After the podium, a reporter asked him, Sam, today is your 30th birthday. Do you have any birthday wishes? He raised his trophy to the camera and smiled. Nicole, did you see this? I won again. Will you wish me a happy birthday? I looked into his eyes through the screen, then lowered my head and smiled. Will you? Oliver's low voice came beside my ear. Of course not. I'm a Model X. He smiled slightly. I didn't try to pretend that Oliver and I had all these shared interests, but he was the one deliberately getting close. One time, we were talking about a musical and I casually asked, You like this one too? He answered honestly, I saw it on your Moments, so I looked it up. I blinked in surprise. I had posted that 3 years ago. He went back and looked for it. The thought made my face heat up. He opened his hand in front of me. I instinctively placed my hand in his palm. He gently held my hand and said, "That day, I really did feel a little bad. Thought maybe you were just targeting me." I felt tricked. But then I couldn't stop thinking about you. I kept scrolling through your posts, wanting to know your past, to see what you're up to now. That's when I realized, if I like you, then even if you were trying to get close to me on purpose, what's so wrong with that? I looked at his face, and my eyes blurred. He suddenly looked out of focus. "Nicole, can we try a real relationship? One that's actually meant to last?" I nodded hard. "Okay." He smiled and hugged me. "Then next time, let's not hike the MacLehose Trail again. Let's go to a sauna. I know you're lazy and not a fan of hiking." I laughed. "Take me up a smaller hill first. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up liking it."